Hi Tubies, here's Alexandra again, and welcome to the next painted video. Today, like I promised, we will paint a great Unclean one. As you can see, I have already primed him in grey with a grey spray primer from Army Painter, and the first coat we will apply is a 50-50 mix out of Caliban green and mood green. So I will take a big brush, put some color on the palette, add a little bit of water, and then I will simply paint the whole thing in green. Well, at such a large model, this might take a while, so we see us when he's green and dry. Be right back. Okay, here he is, totally green, and now we will hit him with some Athonian camo shade. You know, that's the big brush here, no? When you hear this sound, you know there's not enough wash on the brush, so get back into the pot and again, you know. You know I'm kidding, right? Well, this is obviously a very big miniature, and so this might take a while to dry. And to apply, I will finish the job and let that dry. Be right back. And there he is, with the wash dried now. And what we'll do now is take the previous green mix out of Caliban green and mood green. I have it here already on the palette. And then I will add a little bit of Baneblade brown to the mix. And with that color, I will slightly wet brush the whole miniature. I will use wet brushing because dry brushing has the tendency to leave very ugly, well, it looks like it's all dried up, and that's not something I want to accomplish here. I want to simply highlight this miniature step by step, and so wet brushing is the better alternative. So, okay, that was layer number one. And now we add a little bit more of the brown to the mix. As you can see, I'm using a quite big flat brush for this purpose. The difference between wet brushing and dry brushing is very simple. With the dry brushing you remove almost all of the color and only a very slight amount is left on the brush. Where with wet brushing you simply remove that much color that there's no real excess paint, but the brush itself is, like it is indicated with the word, it is still wet enough to paint with it. Okay, and now we add some more. Now we have to concentrate on the upper parts, not the entire miniature. Good thing about this big Nurgle demon is it's quite easy to highlight with this method. Yeah, and voila, we got nice definition of all the main areas. We could go even further now. I will add a little bit of Screaming Skull now to the mix. Well, obviously, my choice of color, this has the tendency to be a very pale and very pastel-y color. If you want maybe a different kind of green, then you could totally highlight it with yellows. That will make, well, the whole thing look like radioactive. Or you could go for a skin color that would also be appropriate for highlighting purpose. It totally depends on you. You should experiment with different green tones on maybe your painting palette and look which green tone you prefer. Maybe you could experiment on Nurglings or on your blackberries before you actually go for the great Unclean one. Okay. Yeah, I think that is enough highlight for that stage. And we can move on to the next stage. Be right back. Okie dokie tubies. The next step I will make totally off camera. Well, I will paint all the bone parts, the nails, teeth and the back spine with Baneblade Brown, and all the wounds and pustules, and here this strange tube-like things I will paint in red, here in Mephiston red. So, I'll be back when this is all painted. And there we have him now, with all the bone parts painted, all the red parts painted. Yes, I've painted the mouth area in brown with a little bit of wet blending of red. But we will come to that later. Now is also a messy part. We will now give the whole miniature a wash with Reichland Flesh Shade. Or any other brown wash you have at hand. So, like before, just glue it on, just like that. And out of a sudden, this whole ugly muck of a great unclean one becomes visual. So, I will finish up the wash job and be right back when it is dry. And there he is now, completed with a second coat of wash, and as you can see, he's now pretty nice disgusting. So, and now comes the time to work on the pustules or pustules, or however you want to call them. So we will start off with a brown orange mix for a base coat for them. For that I use a tiny bit of Monfang brown in combination with Troll Slayer orange. So a little bit of brown, and then some more of the orange. Yeah, that looks good. So, in order to paint those things, we start with the base coat of that. Then I'm going to highlight it with more of the orange. And then some pure orange. And on top I will use some Avalanche Sunset. And voila, we have something real disgusting. So I will work now with all the pustules, and also I will paint the maggots all over his body with some Screaming Skull. Also just take a little bit on the palette, and then every single of those maggots need a simple stroke of paint. This also will take some time, and I will do that off camera. Be right back. Okay, there we go. As you can see, all the pustules and maggots are painted now. That gives the whole greenish thing a more vibrant and nice touch. But for me it's a little bit late now, so I will go ahead and sand the base now. Many people have the tendency to make the base at last, but I prefer doing this at a moment where the miniature can rest for a while. So in this case, for example, overnight. And like usual, I take an old brush and give the whole miniature coat of white glue. Well, not the miniature, the base exactly. Oops. There, I didn't want to have glue. So let's remove that with a different brush real quickly. problem with such a big metal model. The only downside to metal is the heavy weight, and for that matter it's quite hard to handle, especially if you can't use a miniature holder for that. That's the only case where maybe a fine cast model is appropriate, in my opinion, for such a big model. But yeah, I have here now the metal version, and so that's what I'm using. So, and then you take, like usual, your sand container, dip the miniature in and fill it with sand. Just like that. Shake it a little bit. Shake the excess off. There you go. Go with the finger alongside the edge of the base so you can remove the excess sand there. And then you simply let that dry overnight. And I'll be back in a second. Another day, another paint job. Well, the sand is dry now, and now I will hit the sand with Nurgle oil to give it instant color. Well, what kind of shade or wash you use is totally up to you. You could make a brown base with some brown wash, or make a green one with a camo shade, or whatever you prefer. Just simply hit it with a wash. It's quite easy to paint a base that way. And then let it completely dry. Okie doke. So he is now ready to go on painting. Be right back. Okay guys, we're closing into the final details of this ugly mug of a great Unclean one. So, only things left to do is teeth, horns, nails and stuff, and bones. So, let's tackle that. We take now, again, Baneblade Brown. An older brush. And with that, we go gently over the horns. Just like that. Same goes for the teeth. Ta-da! So, and also all the nails. And of course, the spine. Be careful not to touch the green with your brush. So that we will highlight now even more with a little bit of Screaming Skull, or if you have it, wood bleach bone. roughly 50-50 mix, painted brown and Screaming Skull. Wipe most of the paint off of the brush. And then we go in again. Now we're painting not everything, just the upper parts. So we get a nice transition. Okay, and for the final touches we use pure Screaming Skull. So, and that part is also done. So, now the last thing left to do is the sword and the chains. And for that, I'll be right back. And there he is, almost complete. As you can see, I have previously painted now the sword and the chain in Ironbreaker. And now we're going to rust this bad boy up. For that, we use some Rhinox hide. A little bit on the palette. Wipe most of it off on a paper towel. And with that, we will dab now the whole sword with this brown. And create that way some rusted spots. Same for the chain. And then we take some Troll Slayer orange and do the same very gently. Some nice rusted spots. Don't overdo it, just here and there a little bit. And then we use one of the new technical paints, Typhus Corrosion. Give it a good shake. So, and with that, we will go in here at the sword pommel a little bit. And then we take the brush with a little bit of water on it and go in and wipe a little bit of that off again. We don't want to have it overly flooded with that stuff. Okay, now I go for the chain. And again, a little bit watery brush. Wipe a little bit off. Now we go back in with a little bit of the orange again, here and there. So, and for the sword blade, we will use a wash. I have Seraphim Sepia. Just slightly go over the blade with it. And again, with a little wet brush, going a little bit over it. And voila, we have a nice corroded sword. Okie dokie. Now for the last little bit of ugliness, we use the new technical paint Nurgle's Rod. This is a transparent greenish gooish paint, and with it we go in to our wounds here and let that pool a little bit here and run down. Not too much, just a little bit to make it really nice and gross. Also, you don't need to have it in every single spot, just the big ones, for example. And that way we can go up also the red tubey things here a little bit. And no, when I mean high tubies, I don't mean that kind of stuff here. I'm referring there to YouTube. Well. So, that way we can really nice goo him up, make him real ugly. Real ugly mug. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Maybe a little bit around the mouth. Like that. So now let's have a closer look at the eyes. I want a really nice contrast on the eyes for the whole miniature, and for that we take some ceramide white. And then we give him nice blue eyes with ticklish blue. Like he's really innocent, and he's the kind of loving father figure. Okay, we will correct that with the red part shortly, but first let's finish this job. So then we take some Chaos Black, really tiny amount, teeny bit, right in the middle. Boop. Like that. Okay. Now let's correct really quickly the eyes, the red part around it. So here I had a mistake, bloop. And up there was a mistake, bloop. And there we go, with nice blue eyes. So I will finish up the base and show you the end result. Be right back. And there we have him finished. Pellucius the Great Contaminator, Great Unclean One of Nurgle. As a little tip for using this here as a metal model, or any kind of big miniature that is metal, give him at least 2 coats of dull coat or spray varnish, or here model color matte varnish, or whatever varnish you have at hand. Well, because of the chipping paint issue. And there we have him, Pellucius the Great Contaminator. I hope you liked this tutorial, and we see us in the next video. Alexandra.